Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. So today I have a haul update video. A little less than a month ago I did a haul video featuring some new products that I purchased from ColourPop and Wet n Wild and a couple other brands as well. So I wanted to do a quick follow-up on that to let you guys know how those products have been working for me, which ones have been hits, which ones have been misses, and just to kind of give you like my thoughts on all those products, since I feel like haul videos are fun to do and they're fun to watch, but they aren't always the most informative. And so now that I've been testing out the products for a few weeks, this is kind of my way of reviewing those products. So I think the first thing I mentioned were some ColourPop shadows. So I did purchase the large empty palette from ColourPop. I believe this was $10. It's a nice, well-made palette, although I will say that the material, it's already gotten some smudges on it from, you know, other makeup stuff, but that's not a huge deal to me. The palette itself works just fine. So these are all Makeup Geek shadows. You can just ignore those, but this whole row right here are the shades that I got from ColourPop. I have really been enjoying these. If you want to see me using a couple, I did a Get Ready With Me a little while ago with these two shades right here. This is Tiki and Wait For It. Really pretty yellow and peach, beautiful summertime shades. I did a Get Ready With Me using those, and so if you want to watch that, you can see how those shades perform. I've also enjoyed all the other shades too. I will say that this kind of light shimmery green shade called La Playa is a bit sheer, both swatched out on the skin and applied with a brush on the eye. But all the other shades I've been really pleased with. I've done a couple of really fun looks with them. And I will say that when I first got these and I swatched them, I wasn't really impressed with how they swatched. But aside from La Playa, all the other ones have been really, really good, in my experience, applied onto the eyes. So it's kind of one of those cases where the swatch doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. So yeah, overall, really good experience with those shadows. Those are $4 each, which, you know, if you were to get like a whole palette full, that would really add up. But that is a pretty good price for single shadows like that. So yeah, I have really enjoyed those. I probably will pick up more shades in the future, just because I am trying to kind of build more of a colorful eyeshadow collection. And it's nice to be able to pick just the individual pans that you want instead of having to purchase an already put together palette where you may only use a couple of the shades. So I really like being able to customize a palette like that. So I have really been enjoying those. That's not what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. I'm actually wearing the Subculture palette, which was also part of the haul, and I will be talking about this in just a second in more detail. But the only other thing I did purchase from ColourPop was the cream gel liner in the shade Fast Lane. This I am wearing on my upper lash line right now. I do really enjoy this color. It's a really pretty deep teal. It is nice and creamy, but what I have noticed with this is it's not one of those smudge-proof eyeliners. It is, on me at least, it does smudge onto, it kind of transfers like into the inner corner. If I'm wearing it on the upper lash line or in the tight line, it does transfer a little bit, or even on the lower lash line I've noticed. So it's not totally transfer proof or smudge proof, but it is a nice color to get to kind of play around with. I don't think I would purchase any more shades of this. Also because you may remember in the haul when I swatched it, the tip actually broke off. So it's kind of just, it's nice, it's fun to play around with, but it may not be the best quality. So anyway, that's kind of where I stand on that. But I have enjoyed getting to use it. So the next thing was the Subculture palette. I have been playing with it quite a bit. The reason why I decided to purchase this is because, I mean, this palette is not new at all. It released last summer, so it's been out for almost a year now. The reason why I purchased it was because I was feeling really drawn to the color scheme, and I went back and watched a bunch of reviews on it, and I ultimately decided to purchase it. A lot of people, of course, were really upset with this palette because it's not the same formula as Modern Renaissance, which is Anastasia's like original palette, but this was kind of supposed to be the sister palette too. It's not the same, and so a lot of people were upset about that. A lot of people were upset with the amount of fallout that they were getting. Shades weren't easy to blend. You know, I'm sure you've heard all about that. Regardless of all of that, there are quite a few people who really like this palette, And I was just so drawn to the color scheme. I don't have anything else like this in my collection, so I felt like this would really inspire me to kind of think out of the box and create some really different looks that I've never created before. So I am wearing this on my eyes today. This is my favorite look that I have put together using this palette. I started out with just like a light cream shadow base, and then I have Dawn as my transition color. Dawn is a really nice transition color. It blends really nicely, and I put electric all over the lid, and the cream base really does help that shade pop much better than if it were just used on its own. And I also have Roxy in the crease and a little bit in the outer corner. I just kind of built that up around the outer corner, and then I went over that with Untamed, which is a nice deep green, kind of a deep forest green. That shade takes a little bit of work to blend for sure. And then I also used Axis, which is the deep teal, on the lower lash line. I used the ColourPop liner in Fast Lane on the upper lash line. And I highlighted the brow bone with the Wet n Wild Brulee single shadow because there's not really a brow bone highlight in this palette. So overall, I have really been enjoying this palette, but it's certainly not a palette that I would use on a day where I just want to throw something on really quickly. If I'm running out the door and I just need to do a quick, neutral, simple eyeshadow look, this is not the palette I'm going to reach for. This is the palette I'm going to reach for when I want to experiment, maybe create a little bit of a more dramatic look. A lot of people say that this palette looks more like fall, but I feel like the look that I did today is very summery. I love the way that Electric and Roxy pair together, and then the deep green in the outer corner. I love the way that all comes together. I think it's beautiful, but I mean, you could definitely create a very fall look as well, just depending on which shades you choose. So I've done some looks with the palette that I really didn't like, and I've done some looks that I really did like, so it's kind of just a learning kind of palette for me. It's not, I definitely see why a lot of people were upset because some of the shades really, really, truly are difficult to work with. I totally understand that, and I see where a lot of people were coming from. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of pushing me out of my comfort zone and forcing me to be creative and learn to work with some shadows that are super, super pigmented but are not the easiest to work with. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not going to tell everyone that they need to go out and buy it because I don't think it's for everyone. I don't even know if it's for me. To be honest, a lot of the looks I've created looked pretty bad. So like I said, it's a learning palette for me. It's forcing me to think more than I would have to with, say, the Modern Renaissance palette or any other just neutral palette in my collection. It's definitely the kind of palette where I'm being pushed to think out of the box a little bit. So that's how I feel about it. Yeah. But again, I know I'm really late to the party on this, so I don't even know if anyone cares to hear my opinion, but that's kind of how I feel about it. So the next product that was in the haul video was this Milani Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof Powder in the shade Fair. This is the lightest shade. This is nice. I am wearing it today. I would definitely say that this is a mattifying powder, so it's really good for the summertime in my opinion, and if you have oily skin, I think this would be a great powder for you. It definitely does have a nice bit of coverage to it. It's definitely not a translucent powder by any means. I wouldn't say it's high coverage. It's not like a full-on powder foundation, but it's a nice face powder. I never really feel that strongly about a face powder because I kind of feel like they all do the same thing, but it is nice for just setting your makeup in place. I don't think it looks dry or super powdery or cakey or anything. I like it. I don't know if it's going to become like my holy grail powder, but I like it. So everything else is from Wet n Wild. The first thing was their Illuminati Highlighting and Concealing Pen. This is a product that I've had in the past and I used it up and I liked it enough to actually repurchase it. This is what I'm wearing on my under eyes today, but I am wearing it over the Pixie Peachy Corrector, so it's not on its own. On its own, it's not a high coverage concealer, but it is just nice and lightweight. It's not going to look thick and heavy and cakey, which is what I really like about it, especially in the summertime. So I do really like this concealer, and I'm glad to have it back in my collection. And mine is in the shade I-Vory Into You. I will say the shade range with this concealer is not very good. This is actually the lightest shade. I feel like they could probably have a few lighter than this, and I also definitely think they could have several darker shades too. So that's my only gripe about it, but as far as the concealer itself and the formula, I do really like it. Okay, so I also had a couple of really fun shades of the MegaLast lipstick from Wet n Wild. One of them was a hot pink color in the shade Don't Blink Pink, and then the one I'm wearing on my lips right now is Violet's Kiss. I know this lipstick doesn't really go with the eye look, trust me, I'm well aware, but I just wanted to wear as many of these things in this video as I could. So I figured out of the two, the purple would probably work a little bit better than the hot pink. Either way, I've always loved this formula of lipstick. These are $1.99 at the drugstore, so one of the cheapest lipsticks available at the drugstore, and I do like them a little bit better than their 99-cent lipsticks. These are just a little bit more long-wearing. They are kind of matte, you can see. They're not 100% matte, but they are kind of like a satin matte, I guess you could say, but at the same time they're really comfortable. The lipstick formula is a bit dry. You kind of have to let it warm up on your skin before you really glide it across, but honestly the wear time is really good, and they have such a nice range of colors too. They've got a lot of neutral colors and a lot of fun colors as well. So the reason why I chose a couple of really like bright, bold colors is because there's not really a whole lot to lose with this. I mean, these are only $1.99, and if you have a coupon or something, sometimes you can get them even cheaper, like buy one, get one. So it's kind of a fun way to just experiment with some really fun, bright colors that you know you're probably not going to wear all the time, but it is fun to just kind of experiment. So whenever I do want to kind of play around with a fun, bold color, I really like this MegaLast line from Wet n Wild because it's a really cool way to test out some fun colors without breaking the bank. Especially since you know you're probably never going to use these up and you're not going to wear them that often. So the purple actually, it's not as bright and crazy of a purple as I was expecting it to be. It's definitely still different, and I don't know that I would just go out of the house and go to like the grocery store with this on, but it's not as crazy as I thought it was going to be. So, and I will say that the hot pink one does stain my lips quite a bit even after I take it off. You kind of have to work pretty hard to get it completely removed, so it could be a good thing if you want really good staying power, but it could be a bad thing if you want to take it off and not, because it really does leave like a bright pink stain on your lips. So anyway, but these have been really fun. I'm glad that I got those. I also picked up another one of these Flattop brushes from Wet n Wild. I already had one, but I picked up another one because it's my favorite foundation brush, and so it's nice to have two in my rotation so I'm not having to wash them quite as often. It's a really nice foundation brush. I used it today. It's very soft. I don't know what else to say about it, but it is a really good brush, and it's been my favorite for a long time. So the last two products were actually brow products. So the first one was the UltimateBrow Retractable Brow Pencil. I have it in the shade Taupe. I am actually wearing both of these brow products in my brows today to kind of show you, but the pencil itself I do really like. It has a spoolie on one end. It's nice to have. And then the other end is similar to the Anastasia brow definer. It's kind of like that triangular, wider kind of tip. I will say that applying this is really nice and easy. It's creamier than, say, the Brow Wiz from Anastasia. So it's a little bit quicker to work with. I can kind of run through my brows pretty quickly and it does a good job. The only thing that I don't love about it is the shade. It pulls a little bit too red and a little bit too warm, so it can look a bit unnatural on me at least. So I don't know if this is going to be like my holy grail brow pencil. It's nice, you know, it's nice, it works well, it's nice and quick to fill in my brows, but the shade just isn't quite what I need. So I'm kind of still on the hunt. Once I use this one up, I think I'm going to try the NYX Micro Brow next because I do really like the Brow Wiz, but I want like a cheaper alternative. So that's the one I'll probably go for next. But I have been enjoying this. I think it's good. The shade range definitely isn't as good as like Anastasia's shade range, obviously, because it's a drugstore brand. And this pencil, I think it's like $2 or $3. So it's really, really affordable. I would say if you can find a shade that works for you, it is a really nice brow pencil. So I also got the UltimateBrow mascara. I didn't have like a brow gel or a brow mascara already, so I thought it would be kind of nice to try this one out because the only one I've ever had in the past was the e.l.f. clear brow mascara, and that one was okay, but I think I've kind of moved on. So I got it in the shade Nothing But Brunette, and I think it's a bit too dark for me. The thing about tinted brow gels is that it can get kind of messy if you don't keep it contained. You can get like dark smudges outside of your brow, so sometimes I have to go and clean it up. And I do think that this shade is a bit too dark for me. The brush is nice. I kind of wish the brush was a little bit smaller. It's kind of short this way, but it is still a little wide. I think it could be a bit narrower, and that would make it easier to control, maybe. But I don't have a whole lot to compare this to because I haven't really, actually this is the first tinted brow gel I've ever tried, so it's really hard for me to compare it to anything else. But I know they do have a blonde shade, but they didn't have that at Walgreens when I was there purchasing this, so I just went for the brunette one because my brows are a bit darker than my hair, and I don't have like super blonde hair, so I thought it might work. I think it's just a bit too dark, although it has been nice on days where I don't want to fill in my brows with a pencil or any other type of brow product, and I just kind of want to quickly run through them with this. It has been nice, and it does, it does the job, but it's not necessarily that easy to work with. I think partially because it's just too dark. So I don't know, I haven't decided. I may actually give this to a friend who has darker hair. We'll see. I don't know. It has been kind of nice though to have a brow gel, but most days I just do a pencil and I don't even bother with a brow gel. But today, like I said, I am wearing both, so you can kind of see how they look together. I don't really know if my brows look all that good today. But yeah, the brow gel, it's a little hard to control, but I think if the shade actually was like the right match for you, it might work a little bit better. So I think that was everything that was in this haul. Hopefully that gave you a little bit more information about how I've been enjoying these products. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!